Well, this is going to be utterly amusing. Hello there, everybody. Sabata92, aka Nightmare, and welcome back to Irae Amantes Amentes. Now then, one thing that I was told that I should probably try to complete the route in this episode, so if the video length is to be believed, then I shall attempt that. So yes, the choice that we have to pick. This is gonna be fucking weird. It still feels weird saying, trust Rusalka. Ugh.
Okay. 賢い選択だね。それでいいよ。
Blech.
お前が何考えてるのかは知らないけど、俺をおちょくるにしては条件がシビアすぎるからな。
Revealing the secret powers of one's allies was no joke. The damn hag might have had a penchant for screwing around, but she wouldn't spill volatile information like that just to have a little fun. Marie, you have every right to slice and dice her should she even attempt anything, okay?
なんだよ。
いや、なんかね。まさかレン君が私を信じてくれるとは思わなくてね。ちょっとびっくりしてるのだよ。こういう気持ち。久しぶりだけど嬉しいぞ。
ああ、そうかよ。
I didn't know how serious she was, but I hope she didn't misunderstand me.
けど勘違いするなよ。別に気を許してるわけじゃない。
そうね。冷静に考えた結果だよね。そういうことにしときましょうか。
好きに勘ぐってろ。
I broke my gaze from the smirking Rusalka and clicked my tongue.
ともかくマリ、そういうことだからこいつの見張りは頼むよ。だけど無理はしないでくれ。やばいと思ったら逃げていいから。
大丈夫。任せといて。
Alright.
あ、頼むよ。じゃあ、さて。
It was time to demand my part of the deal.
もう一つ何か教えてくれるって言うなら別のことがいい。
Rusalka looked at me wide-eyed. It didn't seem like she expected that kind of an answer.
なんで？本当にいいの？っていうか、別のことって何よ？
それはな。
Learning of their powers would most certainly prove to be beneficial in the long run, and it might have been a waste to let this chance go, but there was one thing I wanted to know even more than that.
氷室先輩のことだ。
I had to know exactly who she was, and what position she filled in the grand scheme of things.
何かわかるなら教えてくれよ。
However, Rusalka responded to my question by merely laughing.
なんだ。そういうこと。
Close enough.
だったら全然問題ないよ。条件外れてなんかいないんだもん。
Rusalka snickered, narrowing her eyes like an evil siren. And with that singing voice of hers, she...
テレジアちゃんはね、私たちのお姫様だよ。清掃13騎士団黒煙卓第6位、増年金と。ハイドリ秘境を呼び戻して、私たちに黄金を与えてくれるメンドリちゃん。
Alright, just come out right out and say it. Alright then. Okay, okay. That actually caught me off guard, but sure.
つまり、生贄。人柱ね。
Rusalka declared it all with a smile.
ハイドリ秘境を呼び戻す黄金連星。五式でなされる奇跡のうち、彼女はど真ん中のグリューン。
Is this theme different? Part of me wants to say that I've heard of this, but... I completely forgot myself and everything else in that moment. I could feel my very thoughts melt into anger, veiling my eyes like a black cloud. Letting my guard down in front of an enemy was no doubt a mortal blunder, but remaining calm here would have been like denying who I was. After all,
この町そのものがあの子の生物になるわけよ。第8が開けばみんな残らず絞り上げて、そのすべてが黄金の生贄になる。
huh. I didn't want to possess a mind that could remain calm listening to this. I, Ren Fuji, was that kind of man, and protecting my own personality and empathy for my fellow human beings was a part of my struggle.
黄金とは完全のこと。不滅に輝く生命のこと。私たちの目的は、つまりね。
So I had to pummel their ridiculous notions to dust.
彼女とこの町を残らず捧げて、不滅の生き物になることよ。
I would not acknowledge such a rotten miracle. I would do everything in my power to thwart their ridiculous plan. If Himuro had no other allies, then I had to stand steadfast by her side. I swore it from the bottom of my heart. I mean, she had committed no sin, nothing to warrant that kind of fate. And yet her destiny was to be a sacrificial lamb? No one in the world would wish for that kind of life. She might have been somewhat eccentric, but definitely not suicidal. Irae Himuro I knew was a regular girl that laughed at jokes, got angry at little things, and would grow sad like any other human being.
血なのよ。あの子はそういう生まれなの。
I feel like Ren in this moment is kind of slightly short-circuiting after hearing all of this. Just immediately like, oh, I'm not even gonna hide this from you, so here's our entire plan right now. I don't know, I'm kind of in that mindset where Ren is just kind of short-circuiting at the moment right now. Her sole crime was having been born to the wrong people.
だから、これは私のサービス。かわいそうなお姫様の一生一度、最初で最後のわがまま。それに付き合ってあげているだけ。私も足引っ張るのが好きだからね。悲しい？腹立つ？許せない？だったら、ちゃんと頑張って彼女の役に立ってあげなさい。
Rusalka placed her hand on my forehead.
さあ、行きなさい。彼女が待ってる。まともな生まれじゃない者同士。シンパシーがあるでしょ？
Ooh. I then lost consciousness there, just like the first time I'd met the witch. Shameful. Pathetic. I'd bared myself, completely defenseless in front of an enemy for a second time, letting her once again invade my mind. It wouldn't be strange if I never woke up. That was how much of a half-witted imbecile action it was. Imbecilic. I think that's actually the first time I've seen that word. Interesting. At the same time, though, I no longer had it in me to care about my anger or shame. Only the final words uttered by Rusalka kept reverberating in my mind without end. A complicated birth. Indeed. I couldn't help but sympathize with Irae Himuro. Our only sin was having been born to the wrong people. Why did our birth alone doom us to such a cruel fate? All those thoughts made the memories I had taken so much care to hide from my ordinary life resurface in my mind with renewed freshness. The past that I, unable to forget, sealed into a mental coffin. The inexplicable and surreal truth of my conception. Well, there's a familiar sight. I never had parents. I was told they had passed away when I was still a baby. Indeed, I was merely told this. I was given no proof of the fact. I only assumed it true because that was what common sense dictated. I might have tried to avert my eyes from the truth, but to verify the authenticity of information, one could not ignore the credibility and the circumstances of its source. After all, nobody would trust the excuses of criminals and compulsive liars. Your name is Ren Fuji. You're the same age as my daughter. Your parents, my dearest friends, passed away in an accident long before you could possibly remember. So I took it upon myself to raise you. From now on, you should think of me— Oh, wait, that's right. Right. Oh, that's right. From now on, you should think of me as your father, and my spouse as your mother, and my daughter here, Kasumi, will be your sister. This will be your home, and we will be your family. So come over here, and let's all get along. I could remember those words as if I'd heard them yesterday, and I could also recall his affectionate smile and friendly eyes. If they actually sold a mask of that kind, it would be the most lucrative article embodying the very concept of a loving father. And I ended up falling for it, even wishing for it to be true. Now that I thought about it, I'd actually been exposed to the exact same kind of smile and eyes over the past few days. Kasumi called him nice, said that he reminded her of a father, and indeed those two were most certainly birds of a feather. That kindly smile was in truth the smirk of a swindler. I should have been familiar with the nature of men that wore such faces. How could I miss it? Why did I not realize it? Ignoring that fact that my awareness of their true colors would have most likely changed nothing in the grand scheme of things, I tortured myself over the fact. I could only imagine how much each and every one of my thoughtless comments must have hurt her. The mere thought of it made me want to smother myself. In other words, to put it most simply, Ren Fuji was under an obligation to save Rei Himuro, no matter what. I had to break this ridiculous curse, if only to retain my sane mind. It was outrageous to be tortured merely for being born in the wrong place at the wrong time. I could not allow something like that to exist. I could not allow those bastards to use her as their sacrificial plaything. I suddenly realized I was awake. And it's evening! The very first thing that caught my eye was a canopy of boundless orange, a skyscape tinted in the color of twilight. Or are we on the beach again? It had not even been noon when I spoke to Rusalka. It must have been out for quite a while. I'd been lying on the observatory's bench as an orange panorama of the city and dawn extended before my eyes. Oh. It seemed like I was still alive, at least. Apparently Rusalka was not lying when she claimed to mean me no harm. Didn't feel like there was anything wrong with my body, either. In any case, I could probably forget about Rusalka for now. It slightly bothered me that Marie was nowhere in sight, but through the link we shared, I could sense she was alright. As my thoughts slowly returned to normal, I suddenly realized another problematic aspect of my current situation. How on earth did this happen? And what was I supposed to... Aww. Himuro seemed to be deep in sleep, using my knees as a makeshift pillow. I had absolutely no idea how he ended up in this position, and I had no other option but to freeze at the sight. I felt hesitant to disturb her sleep, but above all else, the abruptness of the situation left me unable to think for a moment. At this point, it didn't matter how I managed to climb the tower in an unconscious state. Judging by the evidence, it seemed like I was in this completely defenseless state with her for hours. What went through her head during all that time? What did she feel? And what did she do? Did she spend all this time thinking about her future as she watched the panorama of the town outside the window? Just a few days ago, she was merely another student going to the same school as me. A year older, but a good friend. Yet now she looked as if she was someone else entirely. The swastika, the entire city of Sudahara, was Rei Himuro's Ananerbe. If what Rusalka told me was true, the entire scenery outside that window was both a part of her being, as well as her coffin. I could not imagine what she must have felt overlooking it from this place. It was the fate of all men to one day die, but very few of us had been given an exact time limit in the details of our demise. Were her feelings akin to that of a terminal cancer patient? No, that was likely not the case. Even those with cancer had a period in their lives where they lived free of worry like any other human being, yet Himuro had been cursed by a time limit from her very conception. Furthermore, her fate had been fashioned, so not by divine intervention, but by human hands. A dozen cowards condemned her to death so they could escape it themselves. I began trembling in anger as I arrived at that thought. The voice that escaped my quivering throat was so dry that, for a moment, I wonder if it really belonged to me. It was perfectly normal to be afraid of death. I myself would have preferred to stay as far away from it as possible. I knew I might have to die one day, but but it wasn't like I didn't care when or how it happened. Meanwhile, they wanted immortality? Perfection? A sick joke, if I'd ever heard one. That was hardly enough of a reason to... Why did a girl like her have to give up her life for the sake of some lunatics?
Na, senpai sa.
I couldn't help addressing her.
一個だけ質問させてくれないか?
I didn't mind if it fell on deaf ears, nor did I expect an answer. Still, there was this one issue I needed to bring up, no matter what.
俺のことどう思います?
A vague question that must have been a hella complex to answer, but it was the perfect crystallization of what I felt right now. So,
かわいい後輩。
morning. Well, actually evening, but... Her words hit me with even more force than if I had asked for them under more direct circumstances.
ということにしたいけど、ちょっと恥ずかしいからあんまり顔見たくない。なので藤井くん、できれば行間読んでほしいと私は思うの。
I couldn't help making a feeble smile at how much that sounded like her usual everyday self. The girl had more guts than 10 average men combined.
それが恥ずかしいって態度ですか?
そうだよ。布団があったらかぶりたい。
Meanwhile, she rubbed her head against my lap like an oversized cat.
こっち向きましょうよ。
いや、
いつ目が覚めたんです?
最初から寝てない。
Huh. Her voice was calm and collected like it had always been. In a way, you could even call it aloof, but there was a certain quality in it that made it not seem cold in the slightest. I wondered how she'd explained her peculiar position if she was indeed never asleep. Clearly seeing through my puzzlement right away, she graced me with her soothing, cool tone once again.
藤井くんが目を覚ましそうな感じだったから。なんていうか私、恥ずかしくて、緊急避難。
別に見て照れるような顔じゃないと思いますけど。
タイミングが悪いの。
I could feel the heat of a sigh on my lap.
とにかく私はそんなこんなで君の顔を見るのが恥ずい。だからこのまま話しましょう。
そりゃまあ、俺は構いませんけど。
Still, I wondered if she found the position comfortable herself. I couldn't imagine my knees making a particularly good pillow.
ゴツゴツしません?
するけど、それがいい。君が男の子なんだってわかる。まあこの気持ちは藤井くんがバラに目覚めたら理解できるよ。
したくないですけどね。
されても困るし。
We could keep chatting like this forever, but right now, I'd rather...
あえて、よかったですよ。
Rhea gave me a small nod.
あれが最後じゃ、お互い罰が悪いですからね。
まあそうだね。私はそうするつもりだったけど。
Despite her comment, I could clearly hear a smile in her voice. I glanced down at my lap one more time, her face completely hidden from sight by her silver locks, and reaffirmed that this was what I wanted. I expressed everything that mattered with my first line. I had no interest in anything else besides what she thought of me as a person. It no longer mattered how much truth there was in Rusalka's words, and how much Himuro had known about it. All I knew is that she was a student in the same school as me, 1 year my senior and a great friend, although our relationship might have advanced a step beyond that these past few days.
私は藤井くんのこと好きだよ。
俺も好きですよ。
どういう好きかは。
まあ、想像に任せるけど。
And that was enough for us to resolve to fight for each other. I wasn't attempting to flee or avert my eyes from reality. This was entirely an issue of my own. I swore never to give up and do everything in my power to save her, regardless of the circumstances. All that truly mattered were my feelings and resolve. What did I have to do to save her? What did I have to do to liberate her? I knew the answer, all too well, and that was why I wished to save her and prolong this ephemeral moment for as long as I could. And yet...
私はね、とても危ない女なんだよ。
Himuro dispelled the illusion with a grim smile.
生かしておくとろくなことがない。生かしておいても何の得にもならない。君なら優しく殺してくれるかもしれないって、そういう期待も少しある。だけど、ダメだよね。
I didn't answer, but she most likely felt the tensing of my muscles.
わかってるよ。藤井君は意地悪いから、こんなの聞いてくれるわけない。君のそういうところ、可愛いと思うし。男の子がカッコつけようとしてるとき、カッコつけさせてやるのがいい女だって漫画で読んでさ。私もそれはわかるんだけどさ。
Himuro paused, seemingly struggling to force out her next words.
お願いだから、かっこ悪くなってよ。
Oh. A tear. I couldn't see her face, and she didn't give it away in her voice, but I most certainly felt a drop of something warm seep into the texture of my jeans. Even a complete idiot like me could comprehend what it was.
逃げてよ。いいじゃない。誰も文句なんか言わないし、言う人頭おかしいんだよ。罰が悪いのはわかるけど、君らしくないのもわかるけど、引くに引けないとかそんな理由で、こんなバカな話に関わらないで。頑張れば勝てるだなんて、世の中甘くないんだから。子供みたいな意地、張らないでよ。
I wouldn't answer. I possessed no words that could answer her plea.
君に言いたかったのは、それだけ。君に聞いて欲しかったのは、それだけ。これは私の家の問題。藤井君には関係ない。
Having left those words for me to consider, Himuro stood up, still careful not to let her face show. She took a few slow steps forward and pressed her hand against the glass window separating us from the orange glow outside.
ねえ、藤井君。私は嫌な女なんだよ。みんな死んじゃうって分かってたのに、今まで何もしようとしてない。確証がどうだとか、信憑性がなんだとか、そんなの言い訳にもならないよ。もしかしたら、ひょっとしたら、いつかこういうことが起きるかもしれない。根拠も何も関係なくて、予感がしたの。そんな気がしたの。分かってたの。分かってたのよ。だからまず、第一に目を閉じよう。
Her voice was faint, but clear. She lived her life running away from reality, seeing and hearing nothing, acting as if she did not know anything.
耳を塞いで、口をつぐんで、呼吸を止めて微動だにしない。心は、石みたいに堅くななまま。
And so in this way she maintained that personal paradise of hers.
感じたくないものが多すぎて。 気づいちゃいけない事実も多すぎて。閉じた輪の中だけでいい。その外側で回り続けていたものなんて、ほんの少しだって感知しないし、したくない。そうやってればね、藤井君。
She never glanced back. Her back was still turned to me like an impregnable shield.
こんな私を知られないまま、みんな一緒に死んじゃうからどうだっていいやって思ってたのよ。メメントモリ、知ってる？人間、誰だっていつか絶対死ぬんだから、そんなにジタバタ恥さらすなよって、そういう意味。おとなしく死ねっていう意味。私はそういうやつで、だから。
I couldn't help interrupting Himuro's faltering voice.
誰が今の誰の受け売りですか？
Himuro fell silent, but I didn't need her to answer to understand what was up. That way of thinking was part of Christian dogma. To not obsess with life or earthly riches because of a convenient paradise was waiting for you after death. However, since suicide was forbidden in their faith, they loved war and martyrdom. I might have had a pretty cynical opinion on the matter, but that was without a doubt one of the facets of Christianity. And I shouldn't have been surprised to see the head of someone who had been born and raised in a church be filled with that stuff. In that case, what was I supposed to do? What could I do? A silly question. There was but one thing she needed. And her spiel just now only helped me steel my resolve.
そんなことより、
I could finally understand a bit of how she felt.
もうすぐ私の誕生日。ねえ藤井君、前にプレゼントくれるって言ったよね。
I could hear self-scorn in her voice.
物はいらないから、一つだけ言うことを聞いてほしい。
A somber tone so unlike her. I could tell what she was about to say. And I knew what she was planning to do, too. She would flip everything about her life upside down, cut the stagnant ignorance, and begin a full-out struggle. She would stop idly waiting for the inevitable and instead fight back with everything she had precisely because she knew the worst that could happen could only mean death in either case. That too was an interpretation of Memento Mori, one that I myself could get behind. But in exchange...
もう会いたくない。
I knew she would say that.
二度と私に会わないって約束して。
It seemed like she had come to the same conclusion as me. I was planning to evacuate her from this place, to make her flee and never look back. I thought it wisest to lock her in a safe place while I participated in all this nonsense and put an end to it. But now I knew she wouldn't agree with that proposal. I couldn't make her listen to my plea right after I so blatantly ignored hers. Not to mention, this girl was as stubborn as a mule. And I didn't have it in me to get my way by force either.
学校楽しかった。君がいて、綾瀬さんがいて、ゆうさくんがいて。私、こんなだから分かりがたいかもしれないけど、君たちが大好きだよ。だから。
She treasured the ordinary days we spent together no less than I did. And so she simply could not choose the convenient way out. And I shared the sentiment, which rendered me unable to stop her. So I had no choice but to silently listen to what she said next.
もう終わりにしよう。でないと君、死んじゃうよ。勝てるわけない。
I have a previous route that kind of begs to differ. How was one supposed to react in a situation like this? What face should I make? What words should I muster? Should I put on a tough act, telling her not to worry? Telling her that there were things scarier than death? Neither would be appropriate. Himuro did not wish for a make-believe answer, and we had no time to play with words. Night would soon fall, threatening to banish the sun. And once that ephemeral light vacated the world, I did not know whether I could avoid making her see me shed blood. And so,
わかりました。
that was all I could do. Suppress all of my emotions and answer her in a blunt tone. Seriously. I felt like I'd become quite a clever liar over the past few days. If she did not wish to see me again, then so be it. However, I was not an idle enough man to let Himuro have her way in everything. I had to protect and save her, and so I would come to terms with our separation if that was what it took to make those goals into reality. After all, the safest option for her might very well have been to stay as far away from me as possible. Sonenkin was a sacrificial lamb for the obsidian table. As such, they would do everything in their power to keep her alive up until the 8th swastika was open. They could not afford to harm her. In other words, all I had to do was take care of the bastards within a time limit.
さようなら、氷室先輩。
I wouldn't say anything else. I couldn't reveal to her the silent oath I had just taken inside my heart. Please survive. I will make sure to release you from your shackles. I will kill Valeria Trifa. That was an interesting little turn that one took.
藤井君。
Huh. That was fine. That was how it was supposed to be. Neither of them was the talkative type, so Rhea knew they would separate without being able to convey even a fraction of their feelings, and she did not mind. Rhea wished to save her. Wait. Oh, Ren wished to save her. Whoops. Rhea wished for him not to get hurt. No amount of talking would make them change their minds. They were cursed to forever stand on parallel paths. Therefore, separation was the wisest choice. Both of them knew they lacked in power, and that together they would only hold each other back. In that sense, Malleus's behavior was hardly inexplicable. She likely hoped for the two to join hands in an endeavor doomed to fail. Sonenkind, the obsidian table's treasure, and Zarathustra, their promised adversary. The two central pieces of the grand scheme. Matter and antimatter. When combined, they would turn into a devastating bomb that could go off at the slightest bump. This, their separation, was a choice born of calm, well-thought-out reasoning. Rhea made a sour smile.
半端だね、私たち。
Everything about them was, in the end, underwhelming. They were smart enough to realize that being together would put them in mortal danger, but at the same time, not strong enough to remain with each other after realizing that fact. Having the courage to throw away everything and run would have still been something. Unfortunately, all those were but futile dreams. Rhea wished for him to at least escape alone, but she knew full well that he was not that kind of man. He was brave, gallant, and wonderful, but also a complete fool.
だからそんな君に、私は。
She shook her head, cutting her words short. It would have been a bad idea to let anything unnecessary slip right now. If only she uttered the rest of that line, she would find herself unable to resist clinging to him. She could not have him suffer for her sake. He did not know how to back down. He responded to Rhea's proposition with mock compliance, but Rhea knew he never intended to listen and understood nothing. So this was, in a sense, a contest. Could she end this all before he did something reckless? Or would he save the day before she could find a solution? Whoever proved to be faster would end up the victor. Rhea made a resolute vow in her heart. She would not lose no matter what. Now, this kind of brings into question, this makes me wonder, like, this interaction here. I mean, the previous route, we saw that she had almost completely given in to Isak back whenever the 8th had been opened. So, I wonder how this will change things. One could hardly call the exchange that transpired a lover's tryst, but it nonetheless filled Rhea with happiness. She was glad she could meet him for one last time before the fleeting twilight of their mock repose would be consumed by the dark of night. This was most likely her first and final opportunity to act upon her own desires. To be selfish, to embrace that, would only result in failure and regret too great for words. Give me a break! This is about the 100th time the girl pointed out that tiresome fact.
まあ、んなジタバタしてないで座んなさいよ。騒いでもさ。
You need to talk faster! Actually, I need to be more patient. Sorry. Fuck it. Wait. What? Wait. Why aren't you... Why won't you let me read her words? Kasumi's patience was rapidly growing thin. She glared at Ellie with a mixture of anxiety and frustration.
いくらなんでも遅すぎない？もう日が暮れちゃったんだよ。ありえないって。そうね。どこほっつき歩いてんのかね。
Ellie answered Kasumi's impatience with an almost refreshing display of disinterest, and in truth she was comfortably curled up on the sofa in the center of the room, playing a video game on her phone.
ちょっとそこの人さらい。真面目にやんなさいよ。って何？いや、暇なら一緒に遊ぶ？
That...
ドラゴンしばきに行こうよ。
What?
あと、私の名前はエリーちゃん。ほら、キャラの上に表示されているでしょ？ ERII。確かにエリー。
Quick, take advantage of her ADD and distract her.
はい、かすみちゃん。そんじゃそういうことでクエスト選ぼう。そのキャラプレゼントしてあげるから。これすっごいレア装備。
Oh my god, it actually worked.
やっぱ剣道部員としてはポントを極めないといかんでしょ。でも私はハンマー振り回してガツガツやるのが好きなんだけど。
I believe it.
じゃあドラゴンやめてヤドカリいじめに行く？いいね。あれぶっ壊すときスカーッとして。
In that moment, she suddenly got a grip on herself.
行くか。
Kasumi shoved the game back into Ellie's hands as if it was on fire.
ほんとさっきから全然真面目に答えないし、私が何言ってものらりくらりとあんたはエリー。エリー、せめてこっち見なさい。もううるさいな。日本武道やってんなら詫びとかサビとか覚えようよ。神道を滅却すればうんぬんってのもあるでしょうが。それ今全くこれっぽっちも関係ないから。
Kasumi pried the handheld game console from Ellie's grip and faced her with a gaze that clearly indicated that her patience was at its limit.
いきなり人んち来て問答無用でバキュンと一発さらってくれたのはまあいいよ。まだお腹痛いし指先ちょっと痺れてるけど、それはまあいい。
You know, okay, this is completely off topic. The whole mustache twirling villain, I'm glad that that's a trope.
聞いたっしょ、あのスタンガン。思い出すと腹立つから黙ってなさい。
Kasumi could still feel remnants of tingling pain around her stomach area, but she decided to forget it for now. Never for the life of her would she have expected to run into a kidnapper in the middle of a peaceful morning in Japan of all places, but that was not what she wanted to discuss right now.
で、ここに来るんじゃないの？来るだろうとは思うんだけどね。
Over 12 hours had passed since Ellie's conversation with Ren over the phone. The three of them should have been reunited ages ago, yet here they were, hours later, and he was still a no-show. The two girls had nothing to do but kill time as they idly waited for him to arrive.
まあ、確かにちょっと遅すぎるか。
Ellie, while not as noticeably as Kasumi, was worried all the same. Something bad might have happened to Ren on the way. She cocked her head to the side and considered the other person in the room.
あんたどう思う？
さあ、けど何にせよ計算狂ったかもしんねえな。
Hey, Shiro. Shiro, who had been lying on the sofa in silence till now, finally spoke up.
あの野郎、また病気出しやがったかもしんね
って言うと？
え。お前らすっこんでろ。
なるほど。
Ellie answered Shiro with a disappointed smile, with, well, obvious perplexity lit up on Kasumi's face.
ねえ、それってあいつが何か危ないことをしてるって意味
？That's debatable.
わからん。どうだか？
シロ、いい加減はっきりしてよ。
Kasumi's lowered voice was full of heart-rending anxiety. The wild-looking young man was the main reason she managed to stay put in the room for all those 12 hours.
あんたがいなくなってから何してたかとかもういいからさ。今どうなってるのかだけでも答えてよ。学校行くなってどういうこと？レンは一体何してるの？
そりゃあいつが来たらあいつに聞けよ。
来ないじゃないあのバカ。
だわな。
At this point, even Shiro seemed to have grown tired of the situation. He shrugged his shoulders and gave Ellie a look.
いやもう無理。めっちゃ警戒されてるし、捨て頃やったら私負けちゃう。黙らせたいならあんたやりなよ。
Yeah, to be fair, you were only able to knock her out because you got the drop on her, so...
何やるの？かかってくるの？
Yep.
そんなカンフーポーズ取られてもな。
Shiro scratched the back of his head and let out a sigh. Even he had to admit he'd ended up in a dumb situation.
まあ俺としちゃ知ってること洗いざらいゲロってもいいんだけどよ。問題はお前が信じるかっちゅう話で。
Okay, listen up, Twitsumi. Here's how the deal's gonna go. So there's these superpowered Nazis, and for some reason, Ren Boy's got himself a guillotine. I don't know how the hell I probably know this. Foreknowledge, bullshit, Mercurius talking to me.
What the hell are you talking about?
それは私が決めることでしょ。
でも俺信用ねえだろ。
Which meant it was a mere waste of time to explain things to her. Shiro let out another long and exhausted sigh.
トロの匂いがプンプンすんだよな。
しゃあないね。日頃の行いが悪い。
だもんで今はそのネタ保留にしない？
Oh my god, as long as Rusaka doesn't show up again and eat him. It would certainly have been a lot easier for Kasumi to trust Ren's word, but she had no guarantees he was truly coming. And it was not clear whether he would tell her anything even if he showed up. Or rather, he would most definitely try to keep it a secret. And Kasumi understood that very well.
じゃあしょうがないから。
She raised a finger in front of Shiro.
一個だけ。それだけでいいから答えてよ。嘘くさいこと言えないような質問にするから。
オーケー。俺の3サイズでよけりゃいくらでも答えましょう。
Really, don't feel the fangirls, dude.
そんなのは知ってるからいいの？
Oh, never mind. She already know. Okay, she grew up. Never mind. I was getting ready to question like, how the hell do you know? And then I went, oh right, their history. Duh.
知ってんのかよ。
かすみちゃん、後で私に教えて。
Ah, shit. She gave Ellie some freaking ammunition if that's the case.
だから。
Kasumi did the best she could to calm down and refrain from snapping back at him. Instead, she finally voiced her question.
あのさ。
While at first glance it would seem it had nothing to do with the present situation, Kasumi had a suspicion that her inquiry might have been connected to all the important answers she wished for. One question that she'd been dying to ask all this time.
あんたとレン、一体なんで喧嘩したの？
And in the precise moment she uttered those words... Uh-oh. The lights went out. All three had been suddenly enveloped in darkness, as if during a blackout.
何？
Oh no!
タイムアップか。
Unable to see anything in the darkness, Kasumi tried taking a faltering step forward as a hand suddenly covered her mouth.
黙って。
Kasumi felt Ellie's voice at her very ear tip. It seemed dry and serious, nothing like the relaxed tone the girl had been using before. Nothing was going on. Why was she so upset about a simple blackout? They all spent a few tense and confusing moments in complete silence. Eventually, Kasumi's eyes started getting used to the darkness.
聞こえる？
ああ。できるなら耳取っかえてやりてえよ。
何が？
What was going on? Kasumi listened as hard as she could in an effort to pick up a sound, to no avail. When the lights were still on, she heard the beat of club music in the distance, but it ceased when it went dark. Hardly anything to be surprised by, though. That was kind of how blackouts worked, after all. Yet... Kasumi finally realized what was wrong. How come she could not hear a single sound? There was a blackout. The light suddenly went out. It might not have been the biggest scare ever, but people would get surprised nonetheless. At least, Kasumi sure did at first. Why was the whole club still silent then? There were hundreds of people in here. At least a few of them should have made a commotion. It's happening again, isn't it? Shiro addressed Kasumi before she had time to let out a cry herself. His manner of speech was no different than normal, but there was a certain dryness in his voice.
いいからちょっとうちらの計算違いだあんた巻き込むのは本意じゃないんだよ
レンがいりゃ違う展開もあったろうがまあタイミングの問題か一度あいつを呼び戻すにゃお前連れてくるしかないと踏んだんだけどな
Now all we gotta do is we gotta wait for one guy to come in and then burst and explode in blood, getting the blood on Kasumi and making her faint.
俺らが単に読み違えたか他の誰かが邪魔したかあるいはあいつが浮気者なだけなのか何にせよおとなしくしてろバカスミここでいつもの逃げやか発揮してると死ぬぞお前
死ぬって
It wasn't like Kasumi was unfamiliar with the word. Plenty of jokes utilize the expression of death, yet this time it sounded like a foreign language to her. The weight and meaning of it had quite obviously changed.
いいから言うこと聞いときなよこうなりゃぶっつけ本番でやるしかないしせめて事前にレン君からいろいろ聞いときたかったんだけどね
The two both made self-mocking smiles.
日頃の行いか
Then pulled out something from inside their jackets. Kasumi felt lightheaded as she realized what those were. And big ones, too, like they were straight out of a movie. That quite exceeded the limit of any jokes Kasumi knew. After all, those were quite real. Despite having no knowledge of guns whatsoever, she could at least declare that one fact with confidence. Yet it wasn't the presence of guns that shocked Kasumi, but rather the situation that made taking them out necessary.
本当に冗談じゃないんだ
The cold, hard reality that someone or something that warranted lethal firepower had been on its way to this place. And the two were ready to fight it.
ダメだよそんなの逃げようよ
I'm pretty sure that word is not even in Shiro's vocabulary, except for that one time that Ren and Shiro escaped on a motorcycle, but then again, that was the only decision they really needed to make, so that kind of counts. But, no.
どうやって
Ellie dismissed Kasumi's proposal in a heartbeat.
出口はそこだけで抜けた先はホールまでの廊下一直線虎穴にいらずんばって言うでしょ
そりゃ言えて妙だな孤児もらいたいから胃袋に突っ込めと
Figuratively or literally?
まあ食あたりくらい起こさせてやろうよ
そうすっか
The shoulders of the two suddenly vanished from Kasumi's sight. It appeared like they ducked. And in that moment, the door serving as their sole means of escape opened with an ominous creak. Kasumi cursed her own witlessness for momentarily hoping that it was help, Ren or someone else on their side, that had come. Expecting to see her rescuer, she peered straight at what had appeared in the doorway, and proceeded to ascertain its identity. The sight of the thing that met her gaze would have made anyone's mind spiral into insanity. She felt as if she'd been looking straight into the jaws of a werewolf, a monster with human limbs, but a beast's nature returned her gaze. Pierced by its vile pair of eyes, Kasumi could not muster as much as a scream. It was neither a mask, nor a real wolf, but a stuffed head. Kasumi could not imagine how that could have happened, but it seemed like the stuffed head of a wolf had been attached to the decapitated body of a man. In short, a mutilated corpse was walking around. Its eyes, which one would expect to be lifeless beads of glass, glowed and writhed like simmering embers.
何よこれ
No way, this is impossible. Impossible! Headless bodies didn't move, stuffed animal heads didn't growl. Not even at the brink of madness could Kasumi acknowledge the logic of stakes skewering the dead body, controlling it as if it were alive. Oh. Wilhelm?
It looked almost like a crude clay figure made by a child. The only difference was that the stakes serving as its bones had a will of their own. The wolf's jaws opened and closed, making the kind of dreadful sounds it should have never been able to. Despite knowing this scene would haunt her nightmares, Kasumi couldn't help but listen closely to what the beast mouthed. Let's play a game together.
And in the next moment...
Knew it! The makeshift monster exploded with a deafening cackle. Kasumi had no idea what had happened, nor did she want to know how it had been done. Still, despite falling to her knees and covering her head, she could not prevent the sounds of rending and melting flesh from filling her ears. Unable to cope with the situation anymore, Kasumi recalled that the most dangerous part of a grenade was not the actual explosion, but all the shrapnel and pieces of destroyed matter that would follow in its wake. That crude makeshift werewolf was a bomb. A messenger, a demonstration, an ironic gesture towards a prey, all merely a sick joke birthed by a twisted mind. There's no way, of course, for Kasumi to realize that.
意外と根に持つ野郎だな。
Kasumi regarded Shiro, firm on his feet and seemingly fully aware of what was going on, with complete and utter bewilderment.
私
いいから、お前はおとなしくしてろ。
すぐ戻ってくるから、かすみちゃんは隠れてて。
Bits and pieces of gore from that dreadful explosion were hanging off Ellie and Shiro's clothes. Unbeknownst to Kasumi, though, all three of them might have been equally covered in blood.
ダメ、いちゃダメだよ。
Can't really stop them, honey. Kasumi was thoroughly confused at what was going on, but she knew the two would not come back if she let them go now. The whole situation was too surreal. So preposterous she almost laughed out loud. She felt certain about one thing, that this place was devoid of all common sense, all that she would consider normal.
逃げよう。相手にしちゃダメだって。だからこの先一本道だって言ったじゃんよ。もうだいぶ前になるけどね。名前が底なし穴だからって非常口をみんな潰しちゃったんだわ。当時はシャレの一環だったみたいだけど。
Terrible design choice, but I can see where they were coming from.
結果としてここの奴らが自分で棺桶作っちゃったことになるのかな。
それが偶然かどうかはさておき。
Shiro flashed a derisive smile.
まあ面白いよ。俺がそんなお手軽いモブかどうかはすぐわかる。ともかくこれご指名だからな。行くしかないだろう。
Now, here's the real question. Is
Kaziklube going to be cock-blocked this time?
That's the real question. Kasumi had no idea what the two were blabbering on about. It seemed almost like they were discussing discussing fatalistic philosophy, but rather than waste time listening to their nonsense, she had to figure out a way to stop them. Kasumi would never allow the two to rush to their deaths. If escape proved impossible, that left her with but one choice.
私も行く。
Oh dear. Astonishment contorted the faces of her companions, but regardless of what looks they gave her, Kasumi would not back down.
私も行くから。それ他にもあるなら貸してよ。
Have you even ever fired one?
え？いや、ないなら鉄パイプでもいいから。
She could use kendo. Or rather, that might have been the smarter choice to begin with. If a vicious battlefield awaited her beyond that door, it was probably a better idea to bring a weapon she had been accustomed to.
ないの？じゃあちょっと待ってて。作るから。
Well, you could probably take the metal lining off of that table over there. I mean, it's covered in blood. I don't think you're going to be able to use that very much, so I'd recommend that. Kasumi glanced around the room, looking for something to use. It would have been perfect if they had a baseball bat, but it didn't seem like they did. The best she could think of was dismantling a chair and using one of its legs as a weapon. There were no tools around, but Kasumi figured she was strong enough to break the leg of a puny chair.
ごめんね。すぐ済ますから。いやいや、ね、かすみちゃん。何？おとなしくしてろとか言ったら、私怒るよ。
Ellie faltered a step back.
そりゃ怖いけど、わけわかんないけど、 今はどうにか乗り切らなきゃいけないじゃん。あんたらだけ危ない目に遭わせて私だけ蚊帳の外。ふざけんなバカ。
Oh boy.
っていうか私がここに残ったらあんたらが危ないやつをぶっ飛ばさないと手詰まりになっちゃうでしょ。だったらそれより3人で中央突破する方がいろんな意味で確率高いよ。
まあそりゃ確かにおっしゃる通り
でしょ。2人がやられちゃったら私1人でどうしろって言うのよ。運よく見逃してもらわない限り全滅しちゃうじゃない。
Hmm.
だからここは3人力を合わせて一緒に逃げる。それがベストで一番賢い。
Ugh.
分かった？
Oh dear.
うんは
Ellie found herself at a loss for words when faced such an exorbitant display of common sense. Kasumi was most certainly right, and it was hard to think of any way to retort.
あけどさ
Ellie still tried to come up with something regardless, only to be abruptly interrupted by Shiro.
お前やっぱりすげえな。
It was Kasumi's turn to be surprised, for there was an obvious glint of honest praise in Shiro's voice. It might as well have been the first time he addressed his childhood friend with that kind of tone.
すごいって何がよ。
そういうタフなところだよ。
The situation most certainly called for no jokes, and Shiro, despite himself, had been dead serious. He then proceeded to add the following in the most sober of tones.
プラス健全で前向きだ。ああ、本気で大したもんだよ。波のやつなら野郎でもそっとしてるぜ、この状況。
Huh.
やっぱお前は昔っから正義の人で友情の人だな。レンのアホに爪の赤でも煎じて飲めって言いたいよ。
To be fair, we did pick her as our first round, just saying.
負けだ。全面的にお前が正しい。てなわけで、武器ならあの奥にステンレス製のモップがあるから。
You're gonna lock her in the closet, aren't you?
ただし、無茶だけは絶対すんなよ。
He's totally gonna lock her in the closet. Kasumi hesitated for a few seconds, blindsided by the sudden and unexpected support, but eventually went for the mop.
だよね。そうだよね。
Her smile had been somewhat awkward, but what could she do? It was very much true that she felt scared, and the memory of the gruesome scene from before still lingered in her mind. But nothing would come from panicking in a situation like this. She had absolutely no idea what had been happening around here, but precisely because of that, she had to do her best to survive so she could learn the truth later. All that mattered now was getting out of this place alive. Before that, though, there was a question she had to ask no matter what.
ねえ、シロ。
She momentarily stopped in front of the closet with the mop. It was the very same question that the blackout had interrupted. Something they had to discuss face to face.
あんたとレンが喧嘩しちゃった理由って。
The answer to that question, however,
わかんねえよ。
called it, came vague and obscured and was followed by a swift impact to the back of her head. Shiro's words reached Kasumi before she had the time to comprehend what had happened.
実際、本当にわかんねえんだ。いや、表面的な理由なら説明できるぜ。でも、お前が知りたいのはもっと深い。そもそもの原因についてだろ。
It was unclear whether Shiro had botched his attack or if Kasumi managed to partially dodge it, but she did not lose consciousness right away. As her mind descended deeper and deeper into slumber, she could still make out some of Shiro's words, and even form her own.
11年前。
The inception of it all. The day the fuse was lit. But then why did he choose to ignite it?
わからねえんだよ。本当にわからない。お前には悪いと思うけどよ。マジで未だに意味不明なんだ。すまねえな。
Freaking knew it as soon as he mentioned the closet. I'm like, he's not gonna let her do this.
じゃあこれは。
This sudden betrayal.
お前の要望通りだよ。一番全員が生きる確率の高い道だ。逃げる気ねえやつと組んだところでしょうがねえだろ。
つまり。
Apparently, Shiro was dead set on fighting in this place.
なんでそんな風に思うのかも 突き詰めていきゃわかんねえんだが、ま、いいさ。ともかくそういうことでお前は寝てろ。ほら、行くぞエリー。
はいはい。しかしあんた、これレン君に知られたら喧嘩どころじゃ済まないんじゃない？
Oh, no doubt. Definitely. Definitely.
知らんねえ。けどあいつにだって落ち度はあるだろう。
なんか私はあんたが喧嘩したがってるように思うんだけどさ。
かもな。でも本当にわかんねえんだよ。なんでこう俺がやりたいようにやると決まって。
Oh. Kasumi could not make out any more words past that. Wait. Wait for me, you jerks! Why was Shiro always so reckless? Because it's freaking Shiro! Both 11 years ago and 2 months ago, all of Shiro's actions would invariably put a dent in Ren's world. It was not like the two were on bad terms, nor were they actively trying to destroy the lives of the other. Yet all of their quarrels would always end in Ren's suffering. So Kasumi, who had kept an eye on the two from early childhood, could easily predict that they were once again in a similar situation. The most efficient way for them to survive? Well, sure, he might as well have been right. If he had no intention of running to begin with, he might have had no other choice but to put her out of the picture. Still.
ダメなんだよ。
This did not bode well for anyone. Kasumi can only see it going very bad. She had been too afraid to utter, or even think of the fact, but... Oh, hi! If Shiro and Ellie both lost... The enemy had no reason to let her go, nor did she have any means of resisting in her current paralyzed state. The truth dawned upon Kasumi with raw and undulated terror. Okay. And everyone present could easily sense the surge. Those that could, the exalted ones, felt its poignancy tingling on their very skin, for by possessing senses that transcended mankind by a margin they could no longer remain insensitive to the phenomenon. To them, apostles, possessing inhuman powers, a massive extinguishing of the souls was akin to a display of fireworks. Hence, every single one of them could tell, including him. And we didn't even get to see them fight. Shit. Mostly because I imagine because it's going to be one-sided, they... Valerio Trifa gazed up into the sky, his features bizarrely contorted. It was him who gave the order. It was him who told them to do as they wished, yet how could this, of all things, happen? The arms he clutched around his chest trembled. It was neither a display of joy nor excitement. The priest was terrified by the outcome his own foolish meddling had brought upon him. It was so unlike the priest. Indeed, those that knew him would not be able to believe that the man shivering like a leaf in the wind was Valerio Trifa, the most terrifying man of the obsidian table. To laugh under these circumstances would have fit his disposition far more.
どうしたの？バレリア。
Of all potential people, his agitation was detected by one of his so-called comrades. An impossible notion, had he been his usual self.
あなた、朝方からおかしいわ。一体どうしたというのよ。
いえ、何？
Trifa could not blame Lisa for growing suspicious, for the priest had not displayed such vulnerability in over 60 years. He answered the woman, feeling her narrowed eyes staring at his back.
私の望みがたった今粉砕された。それだけですよ。
Wait, no, Did Bei kill Kasumi?
ですから、この私が60年待って待って待ち望み、焦がれに焦がれた奇跡への道が閉ざされたのだ。
それはどういう？
Lisa felt the opening of the third swastika just the same. That was all she knew. However, all the other details eluded her. Did something that might have put her and others at a disadvantage occur somewhere beyond her knowledge?
黄金連星に問題が生じるとでも？
いいえ、問題は何もない。むしろ、最大にして唯一の不安要素が消え去ったと言っていい。 誰も分かっておらぬでしょうし、本人も無自覚でしょうが、ベイは抜群の軍功を挙げましたよ。もう後戻りなどできない。故にリザ、どうかこの問いに答えてほしい。あなたはテレジアを愛していますか？
Oh, I just... Ugh. Was that merely her imagination?
あなたは彼女を罪に対する罰として火にくべるのか？
His words sheltered a certain kind of revelation.
あなたにとっての黄金とは？
It was only then that Lisa realized her lips had parted of their own volition.
私はあの子が恐ろしい。でも自分にとっての黄金が何なのかたまにわからなくなる時もある。
なるほど。では、今の私と同じですね。
His face contorted into a grimace that looked much too painful to be labeled a wry smile, a mask of palpable suffering. Trifa continued gazing at the night sky, remaining motionless.
リザ、あなたも覚悟を決めた方が良いでしょう。これで黄金連星は滞りなく執行され、以降は当たり前の展開が続くのだ。ハイドリ秘境が、大隊長お三方が万全整えて戻ってきますよ。藤井さんにとっては最悪の流れだ。
Oh. Shit.
そう。
Shouldn't they have been celebrating then? Ultimately, though, Lisa prevented herself from forming that thought into audible words.
それであなたは一体何をもって望みが粉砕されたと言っているの？
And found herself uttering that question in its stead. She merely inquired as to the priest's odd behavior.
何？至極簡単な話。
Trifa answered her with a tortured smile.
私は黄金の大公、クリストフ・ローエングリーン。故に主の影として、破壊の愛を示したまでだ。しかしおかしいですね。矛盾ですよ。逆心の己と中心の己。前者であろうとすればするほど生産杯は堅牢に私と黄金を結びつけたが、後者の真似事をすればほれこのように一瞬にして私と黄金がブレ始めているのですよ。
Trifa turned his head back, rendering Lisa speechless as she met his eyes. For the very contours of the man began to ripple, his soul seemingly trying to tear away from its vessel.
今になってようやくわかった。つまり私はただの道化だったということですね。
Oh.
いや面白い。愉快じゃないですか。傑作だ。これはいよいよもって素晴らしい。テレジア、あなたに心よりの感謝を。私は今、己が真実の愛をついに自覚することができたのだ。
He cackled and cackled up until it seemed his sides would split. His tone carried a touch of maddened grief, yet at the very same time, it sounded like the joyous cry of a newborn baby. At the very least, that was what it sounded like to Lisa. Under the canopy of the lonely night, a single girl poured 2 glasses of champagne, waiting for her guest to arrive. The night called for no celebration in particular. She simply felt like drinking, and as long as she had a partner, she cared not who it was. To tell the truth, though, she did actually care just a little bit. The seat in front of her was reserved for someone she maintained some level of familiarity with. In any case, people not acquainted with her would not be able to get to this place. She made certain to prepare the seat in such a fashion, and precisely because of that, one of her so-called comrades would find it sooner or later. It was highly doubtful any of them would be as rude as to ignore her invitation once they took notice of its presence. But who would be the chosen one to grace her with their presence?
できれば男。いや、女同士もたまには。
Rusalka? However, after a few moments of rumination, she decided that a man would be better after all.
だってさ、ここって一応あれ系でしょ？夜景がしびれるみたいなスポットじゃない？そんな場所で女同士はどうなのよと私思うわけですよ。
The location in question was atop the bridge, not the middle of it, but its side. Hardly a spot that allowed one to marvel at the panorama of the night sea. Still, she felt like this place, despite the somewhat inferior moon, had a superior atmosphere. After all, the seafront could get pretty windy at night, and she did not feel like constantly fighting her hair throughout the whole affair.
だからほらはよ来いっつーの。本名はレン君だけど、クリストフでも別にいいや。カインはないっていうか無理だし、だったらあとは。
Hey?
何遊んでんだよお前。
Oh! What's up, dude?
ゲ
You killed the peeps, didn't you? She must have jinxed herself. It was not like she hated the guy, but he was a little bit, well, either way. Rusalka let out a sigh of resignation.
まあいいけどね。
Wilhelm was the man she knew best in this whole place, which was why the prospect of conversing with him filled her with little to no excitement. Still, complaining would get her nowhere. She cleared her head, greeting her guest with a smile.
いらっしゃい注意殿。お一ついかが？
ああ
Wilhelm regarded Rusalka with exasperation in his eyes. He felt something strange in the air, and as he came to inspect it, found a witch doing strange things. No one could blame him for being momentarily taken aback.
何の祝いだよこりゃ。
とりあえずはあなたの栄誉にってことでいいんじゃない？
Yeah, and this time I didn't get.
ものにしたんでしょ？
Did you just fucking interrupt me? This time I didn't get cock blocked.
ああそれか。
It hadn't been that long since the massacre at the bottomless pit and the opening of the third swastika. The deed no doubt earned Wilhelm the golden blessing. Was Rusalka celebrating the success of her comrade?
一番乗りおめでとう。よかったじゃない？ほら、プロジット。
そりゃどうも。
He chugged down the contents of the glass in a single gulp and threw it over his shoulder. It shattered as it hit the ground, making it clearly impossible for him to receive a second round.
ありゃりゃ、まずかったかね。
別にただ気分じゃねえな。
それはどうして？
さあね。
There had been a faint smile on Wilhelm's lips, but it indeed seemed like he was in no mood to celebrate. Rusalka snuck a glance at him out of the corner of her eyes as she refilled her own glass.
当てましょうか。あなた、満足してないんでしょ？まだ取るつもりなんでしょ、スワスチカ。残りは人数分しかないっていうのに。わかってるの？喧嘩になるわよ。
お前よ。
Wilhelm's tone grew stern.
俺にそれ言いたくて張ってたのかよ。
バカ言わないで。そんなの所詮3分の1だし。来たのがあなたじゃなかったら別の人と別の話をしてたわよ。うぬぼれ屋さんね、注意殿は。
はあ、そうかい。そりゃすまねえな。
The situation did not explode with the issue in question smartly dodged, but a certain tension still lingered in the air. Not fully satisfied with his previous fight, Wilhelm might as well have been looking for a new opponent to test his murderous techniques on. Nonetheless, Rusalka did not falter in the slightest.
もしかしてまた邪魔が入るか逃げられるかした？
Did you get cock-blocked again?
あなたいつもそうだったものね。気合い入れて何かに臨めば決まってそう。同情してるわ。今回もそうだったわけ？
さあな。 だがすかされたような気分はあるぜ。俺、あのガキどもがいただろ
ああ、あの子たち？
Wilhelm was most likely speaking of Shiro and Ellie, and indeed he gave Rusalka a nod and continued.
う。一応はな、あいつら吸ったからそんなに不満でもねえんだよ。歯ごたえうんぬんでいや不服だが、やばけりゃまずいってもんでもねえだろ。狙った奴らはいたし殺した。だが足りねえ。なんで今夜、俺はもう一人とは会えなかった。
You mean Ren?
偶然でしょ？
ああ、偶然だ。けど俺は偶然ってやつが嫌いなんだよ。すかされた時はそう思わねえことにしてる。
Wilhelm stormed the bottomless pit and massacred every single soul inside it, opening the third swastika. That was all well and good. Still, the prey he was after never showed up, and that irritated him to no end. One might say he could have waited for the young man to show up, but that was an empty argument. Wilhelm sensed it was fate that kept them apart tonight.
何が言うことはあるか、マレウス。てめえ小細工しやがったろ。
またこの男は勘だけで物を言って。
Although she made a face, Rusalka did not outright deny the other's claim.
もしそうだったら、私、あなたに落とし前とかつけられちゃうのかしら？
アホか、知ってるだろ。てめえはそそらねえよ。守備範囲外だ。ご老体はいい加減に落ち着きなって話だよ。ちゃちゃ入れんのも結構だがね。くだらん真似しやがるから、また一人落ちることが決まっちまったぞ。俺はあのガキと当たるまで引っ込まねえ。
You're gonna piss off the other members of the LDO if you keep hoarding them all to yourselves, my dude.
ってことは、レオンが落選？当面はあと2つだし、私に興味がないって言うならそうなるよね。
お前があいつと競り合って負けりゃ話は別だな。
そんな立ち回り絶対しないし。
そりゃそうだろうよ。したら間抜けもいいところだ。
With that, Wilhelm proceeded to walk away. Rusalka had no idea where he might have been going, but he most likely had a secret lair or two in the area. He seemed to be quite adamant on continuing to wage the war, so it was unlikely he would care to return to the old base where the substitute commander could possibly put a stop to him. After all, he was a weapon of mass destruction that would not return until it annihilated everything and everyone in its path. Rusalka waved Bay goodbye, absentmindedly playing with a champagne bottle in her other hand.
じゃあね、ベイ。あなたが満足できたらまた飲みましょう。その時はもうちょっとだけ付き合ってよね。
お前の遊びが俺の邪魔をしてなけりゃな。
You mean like last time?
しないわよ。
If anything, she was helping him out. Although her last words failed to reach Bay, whose back had already vanished into the darkness. Rusalka did not know what to do with the man. His sixth sense might have been the keenest thing in the world for some matters, yet completely dull for others. In that sense, he was very much like one other man she knew. Well, the two were born in very similar conditions and both led a life of carnage. Them being similar was hardly a surprise. He must have realized it as well, for the fate that constantly kept him from his most prized prey only began following him after his encounter with a certain someone in the past. As long as the two failed to settle their differences, he would eternally be cursed to this preordained path.
って言っても難しいよね。
Rusalka uttered, so herself, don't you mean to herself, leaning against the bridge's handrail. It was first that woman who got in the way of their battle at the dawn of the obsidian table, and in the end it was he who subdued them both, cursing their duel to an eternal stalemate. Not to mention what happened 11 years ago.
バルキュリアとは惜しかったのにね。
As such, she would make sure to grant his wish this time around. What happened today might have disappointed him, but it was merely a preliminary step before getting to the real meat of the matter. A mere whim, no more. It had led Rusalka to participate in the princess's scheme, but the more time passed, the more she got into it. Besides,
なんか思い出してきちゃったからね。
何を？
oh, hi Leon. Sakurai. A dreadful curse that had been plaguing her for countless years, no less vile in its nature than Wilhelm's, and a way to break from it. Rusalka had been waiting for Leonhardt to show up. She knew both her and Wilhelm would notice and wander into the net she had laid out. What she said about men, women, or wanting to have a romantic drink had been merely a jest. A way to kill time. In truth, those two were the only ones she had been waiting for.
ようこそレオン。グラス一つしかないけど一緒に飲む？
The stern eyes of the girl regarded Rusalka with suspicion and anger. It was most likely she came here after realizing she had been by the princess.
今バルキュリアがどうとか言っていたが。
あら、聞きたい？
一体何を思い出したと？
Still leaning against the guardrails, Rusalka lowered her eyes in a mock display of self-scorn. It would be the first time she uttered it. She dreaded hearing those accursed words, even if spoken in her own voice. The words that the man had told her right after the end of Molgandamurum.
私ね、誰にも追いつくことができないんだってさ。
So encumber and hinder them instead. Such was the craving of her very soul, its flames raging in her breast like a holocaust. Orotoshpin is the only one dead. Chapter 8, Memento Mori. Huh. Well, Ren's gonna have himself a very painful awakening, isn't he? Interesting. Huh. This time all his friends are dead. Except for Himuro and Marie. Huh. I'm not entirely sure what to think about this. Although I am really curious to kind of see how this affects Ren and how he's going to proceed from now on. Also, that was an interesting little scene we got with Tarifa, though. I'm just kind of sitting here pondering, like wondering how the hell this is going to all play out from now on, and I'm really curious to see how this goes. But anyway, if y'all like this, be sure to let me know, and I think I'll see you guys next time. Hello there everybody, SkydivingQuagga here, and if you like this video, be sure to let me know in the comments down below. And hey, if you guys like my content, then maybe you'd like to check out another channel who I think deserves equal attention. So click that nightmare emblem and check out that channel, or go to the links in the description down below. Once again, thank you, and I'll see you guys in the next video.